All right, y'all. Thanks for coming. I know it's a little bit hot in here, so I appreciate y'all. Our HVAC actually went out last Tuesday,
Oh, damn.
so next Tuesday it'll be fixed and it'll be back to normal, as you know it is. Um, Super excited to feature Anthony Regalado. Anthony and I met when he was at the small business chamber, right? Or were you
At the Hispanic Chamber.
Hispanic chamber?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And I was up in Cleveland at Jumpstart at the time, and just really
Mm,
kicked it off. You know, he's from California.
yeah.
My parents are from St. Lucia, and so we both connected. I'm used to this. I actually prefer this. I'm like, I was shivering in Kroger earlier. Like, what is going on? Like, um, so yeah, super excited to feature Anthony. He was in our accelerator. He also raised a seed round, so that's not
A pre.
a pre-seed round.
Yeah.
And why don't you tell folks a little bit about what you're doing? Also, I want to treat this like a Q&A. I
Yeah,
think
sure.
hopefully you all got a chance to meet each other. I know a few people walked in. Mike, do you want to give people a little 30 seconds, just let people know who you are? Hosting?
Well, we'll
Yeah.
wait till after.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But I've been friends with Manny for a long time, and we're brothers from another mother.
Yes.
I like
That's
that.
pretty much it.
And I could big him up, but Mike is a tech guru, one of the architects behind building nationwide.com years ago, and also an entrepreneur with an exit as well too. So, um, but again, if anyone has questions, feel free to interrupt. We're going to probably keep this, definitely under 25 minutes, and keep the show going. Um, so, Anthony, tell us a little bit about Path Intelligence.
First of all, Manny, thank you. Colaeb, thank you. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys. My name's Anthony Regalado. I've been in Columbus for about 4 years. Since then, I came out here from Los Angeles for a tech consulting gig. I was the executive director of the Hispanic Chamber for a year and a half. Implemented really cool things with Tiffany over there at First Merchants. That was really interesting. And then after that, I started a little bit of consulting. My background is in product management, specifically non-technical, but working with developers, designers to push out great products, right? That started actually with training that I actually did in Colombia. So in Colombia, my experience in Bogota was working with scale ups. One of them was Lift It Latam, which I saw them grow in an office of 3 people to 3,000 people all around Latin America in about 4 years. He was an American, but also Colombian, half Colombian like I was. He started that company, and they needed training and consulting on agile for their designers and developers to work a lot better within a high growth environment, which is completely different than working in a corporate environment, right? A high growth environment, high growth startup has a different type of demand and a different type of style in which you build feature sets and functionalities. But that's the old world.
Mm-hmm.
And the old world, I think, is interesting because before a product workflow works in a way that's sort of like the idea person who is gathering information, data, testing with the users. Maybe that's a UX person, maybe that's a product person, maybe that's a product person with a UX person. And then that goes to a designer who tries to get it out there physically and something that can be seen and tested even more, prototyped. And then that goes to a developer right after it's validated and after many iterations. And I think now the new world that we're seeing is you can go straight to Cloud Code and start building. You can go straight to Lovable and start building.
Quick pause.
Yeah.
How many people in the room do that by a show of hands? Like actually build in Claude Code. Okay, so that's like half the room.
Yeah.
That's like half. Okay.
Yeah. In the old world, that took, well, the old world literally meaning like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It took maybe if you were
I
fast
know.
enough,
Yeah.
right? Like it took maybe if you were fast enough, 5 people in a team and 2 weeks to do that, right? At a really fast iteration, maybe three. And today, you can literally go prompt to app, and that's what's so interesting about today. Uh, with that being said, Path is essentially working within this huge bridge between the non-technicals and then the technical world that's out there. Path is an AI agent workflow that identifies opportunities within small businesses to innovate. Then it gives First of all, it does this by contextualizing itself based on financials, operational data, and website data. This is something that consultants do generally, and it's something we call discovery or fireside chats. And we might do this over the course of a week. Maybe we do it in the course of 3 months if you're working at the enterprise level. That discovery period with Path has been reduced to 3 minutes. So we can take organizational insights from a company and conversational insights from that company and put that to strategy, which is the second part of what a consultant does. Essentially, Path is replacing that entire consulting stack, right? So first, the discovery has been reduced down to 3 minutes, and then it will give a 30, 60, 90-day tactical roadmap, which we call paths, of course, and it also gives a 12-month strategy. On top of that, the roadmaps themselves are conversational for non-technical businesses. What does that mean? If the roadmap recommends, or if the path recommends for you to build a CRM for your roofing business, but you're non-technical, it will guide you through building the CRM for your roofing business. It will give you the tool sets. It will give you the SOP to integrate it with your team and help them understand how to build it around their culture. Mm-hmm. So Path is a completely all-in-one operational innovation consultant that is holding whether that's the owner's hand, a non-technical owner, through the step-by-step process of building out innovation solutions for their business. Right now, and I'll just end with this, the opportunity that we've seen and where our investors come from are actually from the franchise world. They were technical, worked in Seattle, Columbus local. When they moved back to Columbus from Seattle, they bought a boring business in 2016. And that boring business was actually in elderly care. And elderly care has a lot of really great experts, right? People who really know how to take care of older people, right? But what they don't have is a lot of great business owners, right? So they actually bought 3 franchises here locally in Columbus, and they innovated them over the course of 6 years and sold that off. I think they might have exited between 10 and 15 million abouts. The reason why they invested in Path was because they saw there was an opportunity in the franchise industry where there are many different operators. In their franchise, for instance, 900 operators, and you have to manage at the national level the strategy of every single individual operator at every single individual location. Path can do that at scale.
And no, go ahead.
Yes.
One third of our autistic population is nonverbal.
Yep.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
You just don't see these people.
Yeah.
And there's a huge market for care and caregivers for these autistic people. Mm-hmm. And it's a very fractured market. Definitely. Just like the elderly care. I don't know, maybe even bigger.
Yeah.
So there's a huge opportunity for some franchise level discipline. You just don't know what kind of company you're setting your child up with until you actually get in there.
I empathize with that a lot. First of all, I'm on the spectrum, diagnosed. But on top of that, my first job coming out of college was actually working for Bittersweet Farms, which is in Northwest Ohio, sorry. And I worked a lot with children with autism there. And yeah, we would manage behavioral health plans or behavioral growth plans, actually, specifically for each and every child. I can only imagine, though, that was like, I'm not going to age myself, that was a couple of decades back, but I can only imagine how they're implementing tech right now. That would be really interesting to see, or anything.
I've been doing a lot of work with them. Right now, it's that clip that once the kid gets out of high school, or somebody's on the spectrum, especially pretty bad on the spectrum, you can go to 21 in the high school system if they can still take care of your child. But after 21, you're pushed out a window on the second floor. I mean, it's a clip. As a parent or a moderate to severe autistic individual, there's almost no pathway or guideline. It's still really bad.
So it'd be interesting to give those specific facilities tools that will guide them through innovating their operations, how they're managing internal plans, things like that. I think that'd be really cool.
So what type of pushback are you getting when you're talking to business owners about implementing, Path?
So today I actually got some pushback from a company that's distributing coffee. They manufacture here in Columbus, but they're distributing to 150 locations, and they give them consulting on the side. so that they can be as successful as possible in every location. The biggest pushback I got from them were two things. First of all, really it's about where the data plays and how their data isn't necessarily going to be shared proprietarily with other coffee shops, right? I think that's hard to talk about today, mostly because while we're building out the product, we are GDPR compliant. APIs do promise, a certain level of discrepancy with individual data. But on top of that, I mean, when you're building on a cloud, nothing is 100% secure, right? That's the problem. So I always try to be as honest as possible as I can about that. But that's, I think, one of their biggest concerns is our proprietary data out there as to how we manage our coffee distribution at our 150 locations. We don't want that out there. The second biggest pushback, I would say, was more specifically, and this is something that I love about today, because our devs are using a lot of AI implementation, obviously, because we've changed UX so much since we got our funding and started flying in January. Essentially, a lot of it is just more feedback on the UX. Like, how can we make this more actionable? I understand it as the executive. I want my owner in Pittsburgh, who manages a small coffee shop that makes $750,000 a year, to really understand this and its actionability. So we're adding a lot more of that utility to the UX as well, and that's very valuable from the product perspective.
Yeah.
750 gross or net?
Oh no, that was an example. The 750 for the coffee shop owner and like a small coffee
I just
cafe.
did the math, I'm like,
Yeah.
nobody's getting paid.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love the idea of path as like this, pilot for your business, right? But I found like the hardest thing in business, especially like the unknown unknowns, things that you didn't know would even necessarily be a problem.
Yeah.
How does Path handle that? Like when something happens in your business, whether it's some asset was stolen, or maybe you had some sort of like hack happen. How does Path all of a sudden now your path has been now you're off course a little bit, right? How does Path handle
Well, you're saying how does it prioritize an urgent need from the business owner?
Well, like if Path gives me a plan, right? I'm following the plan, and then something external happens.
Yes.
Yeah, a life event. Somebody dies, a key partner in the business is gone.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden I'm off of this, golden path. How does that, what do I do?
So the paths themselves are conversational and they adjust to the information that the conversation receives. So every path has its own path intel, we call it. And path intel is a conversational agent on the side where you can essentially go prompt to dashboard and it will change and adapt the path itself according to the standards that you're putting. You can also upload new documents. You can upload new financials. Right now we want to integrate with QuickBooks, for instance, so that we can capture data. But in one of our franchises, which is a large facilities cleaning services business here, which I think we actually had some drinks with the VP there once.
Okay.
They have a large talent problem, an issue, right? So if their talent leaves or if their talent isn't operationally efficient, Path can be fed that information through a conversation. Imagine their operations, their VP of Ops could say, hey, we just had a huge talent change. 3 of our salespeople left. They managed all of the commercial cleaning accounts that we had. We need to make an adjustment to this Path right now. And Path will reintegrate that information and make adjustments to the dashboard itself of the Path.
Gotcha. Okay. So from someone who also works with and builds AI systems, how do you guys deal with like context windows, right? The number one thing that I worry about would be like a business owner, ranting or throwing in like their entire like giant PDF or something like an entire like 200-page manual and just ruining the context window.
So we're building out. I'm non-technical, by the way, so my engineer handles most of this. But the context window does have the foundational data, right, where of the business initially, right? So there's foundational data that it built off of, and then the second layer is actually that context window that can be kind of changed, and then the third layer is the task window, where they're constantly dipping into like, hey, I need this new task, or I need this adjustment or this change. That's how it was explained to me in the architecture. It's functioning and working. Non-technical though, so if you want, I can connect you with Leo to kind of go into that architecture.
So it sounds like maybe they're working off like a JSON or an MD file at the lowest layer, So they put all of their business information into a file that's marked down for the AI to read, and then as they're going through at the top layer, it then becomes like a chat claude chat, right?
Yeah, and what model are you using?
We're actually multi-model. So I think right now to generate the roadmaps, we're using GPT-4 and 5 Mini, depending. And then we're using Claude to do the conversation and to do SOP generation or any kind of documental generation. Also, we're using it for vision analysis.
Have you looked into any local models?
Not yet. I'd love to hear that because I just learned about that and I asked, what's your name again?
Rick.
Rick about that because he was mentioning that earlier.
Local models are getting extremely good.
Yeah.
Like very, very recently. So what I've found is that Claude is great for generating plans.
Yeah.
And when things need to be executed, oftentimes I'll look to either one of these really, really cheap Chinese models or a local model.
Yeah, that's what Rick was telling me about the Chinese models. I mean, I read about DeepSeek, haven't implemented it yet.
Kimmy, DeepSeek.
Yeah, Kimmy and
When you do that, turn off every outbound port on your
Yeah,
Okay.
no PII.
That's what would worry me too.
So, question: I saw that AMD like put out a new device. It's like $4,000, and I guess it has a built-in, you know, like latest chip and everything like that.
Yeah, you can run models on it. It's
That's what I thought. Okay.
NVIDIA has another box similar to that. So that's what the reason why they put that out is basically to compete with NVIDIA. Honestly, you can probably build one yourself cheaper. It will not be as small. Like you can get like an actual, just a regular PC, put a bunch of GPUs in it, right? It's obviously going to be significantly bigger, but if you're not really concerned with space, then that's going to be a much cheaper option. And honestly, you're going to get much more power out of that. But yeah, you can, if you wanted to do something on-prem, you can go with one of those boxes.
All right, we need to have a hackathon.
The hackathon.
I have a Mac Mini upstairs, and it's not running continuously. I've been meaning to talk to you about this.
Well, you can't find one in the United States.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because they're
That's
optimized
hilarious.
for large language models on the box right now.
But
you can sell that Mac Mini for probably 50% more than you got it.
Didn't NVIDIA just launch a CPU?
NVIDIA put their chip
If I
out.
start struggling.
It's so big that they just shot right out. Right, as soon as the smaller models were released.
Yeah.
16 billion parameter models, and that you can't find them. They took them off the Apple Store. The entire city of Columbus is out.
Wow.
You can't even get them used because they're pretty good at exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Unified memory.
Yeah.
Right now, they've got the lead on everyone. 6 months, that will probably change. Right now, yeah.
Yeah. Do you use the Mac Mini? By the way, this is Harrison, founder of Oxcord. His company in the last 9 months has generated over 500K in revenue. They're paying that directly out to creators. So doing some really interesting stuff. Featured him a couple years ago. And we'll do a short commercial to the guy next to him. Amadou is in my accelerator. He drove from Cleveland. 15, 30 seconds max. Tell people what you do and what you're working on and how can we help you. Say it with your chest, a little louder. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm building with sense, trying to monitor the energy quality West Africa with devices, with IoT, prevent people before the fire agent.
All right. So make sure y'all contact if y'all want to get. Yeah. I don't want to. I know it's hot in here. Any other questions for Anthony? Is there any touching points? How can the group help you here?
He had a question back there.
Yeah, CPA. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about the company we were talking about that have the issue with the data. Now wants the data to be out there in the cloud. So have you considered like if you run into more companies like that who want their data to be local, to actually keep their data local?
Haven't considered it until today.
And
Listening to the engineers of the room.
because I thought that's a good
Yeah.
opportunity right there. Like they run into more businesses like that.
And I think he actually, Manny, I think you actually introduced me to somebody who was building like, but the thing is you can't productize the vault itself, but he was building out a business vault, like a data vault. But how do you productize that? That's the problem. That's just a feature of a product.
You can sell the service.
But imagine selling that to the HVAC owner who's just like, bro, I'm just trying to get my margin. I'm just trying to get like some kind of dispatch service here. I really don't care about how you deploy that.
No, that's true. It would be for like mid-market business. Like,
Yeah.
For example, Chase. I mean, they're obviously not mid-market.
Yeah, that's.
But,
I was about to say.
but
There's a jump. You're like
Yeah,
mid-market.
they're not
Chase Bank.
That's what they call Chase LLM, right?
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's a dumbed-down version of ChatGPT.
They do have Chase LLM.
Right.
My fiance works. They have a knowledge base
like
that they,
First Merchant,
but they use eGain internally for all of their processes,
Yeah.
which is like enterprise grade knowledge base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at Chase for 15 years.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
They don't have technology problems. They're richer than God.
Yeah. I know. I mean, they literally manage all of the money in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they started implementing what she was telling me. They implemented like 8 years ago, and now they're just starting to make it common to like use eGain
Well,
internally.
that's what they can do. They got so much money, right? And they can just afford to brute force it and throw human bodies at it,
Yeah.
right? And if you get crushed, you get crushed,
Yeah.
right? Until it happens.
And I think the biggest phenomena happening in general, and it's happening at enterprise. So I spoke to the director of AI at Owens Corning. He also heads the R&D department. He's building his own internal tools for the R&D department. Like they're just building out their own workflows.
IP protection.
Yeah. But on top of that, I talked to a guy that's working on a roof at a roofing company here locally. It's like probably a $2 million roofing company. He's building out his own CRM. That's the phenomenon that I really love, where it's really interesting. They're building around their culture. They're building for themselves, and they're non-technical.
That's the real question.
That's the real
You can build it, but like, are you going to be able to maintain it over 5, 10 years?
Which is like the handheld, the customer service, which is what I was trying to say.
Well, there's the other thing too. Like when my first company, I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right. And that Manny actually one time at a conference took me off of the sales floor, told me to go to the hotel room, and locked me in it.
Oh my!
So I couldn't talk to the.
It's like you're too technical.
And there was some profanity involved. Yeah.
You need to leave. I
love that though.
Yeah. When a while after we started working together, and all of a sudden I needed to change what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were very clear. It hurt, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm vibe coding, right? This thing. I'm just off on my fantasy.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be the man who's gonna say, pal, you need to learn something here?
Well, we had a convo like that yesterday, I think.
Yeah, we did. But I think that product. So the good thing is that product sense is still very important. Throwing it in front of users or potential users or your user base. Like we started testing Path last year, and it was an alpha that was only conversational. The directionality of the product itself didn't come from a technical nuance. It came from a need, from a market problem that needed to be solved, which was nobody wanted to pay. Nobody who's running a $2 million a year HVAC company wants to pay $200 an hour to an Accenture consultant to come in and tell them, here's a list of your problems, figure it out. Or here's a list of your problems, hire the $600 an hour engineer to come in and solve them for you. No one's going to do that. So there's 99% of an underserved market in the United States right now that literally doesn't have access to innovation consulting. They don't even know what that is. You can talk to them about modernization. You can throw AI out there to them. They just don't understand. So this is like the Jobsian. Like, have you guys ever seen that one Jobs talk where a developer's like, how dare you take away this specific code? And he's like, look, we're focused on products, like products that people can use. It might be very technically advanced and nuanced, but we need to launch a product that people can use today.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. Yeah.
This is a good comment.
I'm doing a home healthcare company, right? And I'm helping autistic kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, and then the system puts a process in, and it automates what I ask. What I ask is stupid, and I get sued. I hurt a kid. Maybe I mess up medicine.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I could come back and say, well, don't blame me, blame him. I'm renting my brakes from this guy.
Yeah. So I went to the, like last year or 2 years ago, to the initial AI conference here at Ohio State. And they talked exactly about this compliance issue with AI. And they gave a lot of like use cases where this actually happens. And it can get worse, right? You can not only be recommending the wrong things from like a medical AI perspective, right? But you could also be losing tens of millions of dollars if somebody prompts it, right, in a way that's very specific to what they want, right? Like somebody kind of hacks into the AI. That's a difficult issue to solve for, but at the end of the day, taking it away from the hands of the engineer, again, this is just a perspective and an opinion as to like what the future of building looks like, right? I really think that taking it away from the hands of the engineer isn't the problem. It's more so how to involve technical expertise and give that product sense nuance to the person who's building out a small solution for their elderly care, right? The problem is, in what you're talking about, is where does the blame then come if they implement something that
liability.
There's a
What if it
liability.
hallucinates? You know.
But there's liability when they try to. What was the one tool that they tried to do for early detection of cancer using an LLM model, and like it was at scale as well. Like they were doing this with hospitals all around the country who were just deploying this tool out there. I mean, that's a really good question. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm sure there's a lot of.
By the way, there are more radiologists now than there ever were.
I'm sure.
Right now, I wouldn't worry about it. The regulations are so loose that by the time they catch up to what everybody's doing, it's going to be a shit.
And the other problem is this, like regulation, and this is where I get kind of like, I want democratized technology because regulation can also become a moat. So then who are the experts that get to build and who are the ones who don't?
Apparently it'll be Anthropic, right?
Apparently, shit. And like a year ago it was literally GPT, like the open AI. Like now it's Anthropic. It's insane. It's moving fast.
I love that. I love that. Well, I want to get everybody back to the event, to the party, to the alcohol, the drinks, the water, and all the fun stuff. Keep mingling. And Anthony, appreciate you. Make sure people know how to connect with you. And
totally.
You know, his name is on the Eventbrite, but yeah.
How do you connect with me on LinkedIn? Send me a LinkedIn message. More than happy to reach out. I have a TikTok. I haven't posted a lot of videos on there, but I have talked a little bit. It was kind of like a weird iteration of my life. But now I'm doing just like the pure founder-led sales road. And it's kind of interesting because I'm meeting with a really cool enterprise franchise companies that are really like, man, like the other day, 450 HVAC companies underneath this one umbrella company. And
you know a thing about that.
Yeah. It's a really interesting market to kind of put the product into initially.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting niche because
playbooks are very tough to build.
Instead of doing like the playbook at the individual level for the business owner, now it becomes the accountability engine at the national level as well, right? And that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, you could pick Mike's brain about that. He sold a franchise SaaS company a couple years ago.
Cool.
So appreciate y'all. Thank you. Let's get back to it.